Ye West went from being a billionaire artist to being the laughingstock of Hollywood all in the twinkle of an eye, and he has nobody to blame but himself. He is getting canceled by almost everyone in Hollywood, and it looks like he is about to lose every cent of his billion-dollar fortune and go back to being broke. How did Ye manage to mess things up so badly? Is Kim offering him support, or is she choosing to distance herself from him? Most importantly, how does Ye plan to fight back and secure his legacy? It looks like Ye West's words are finally coming back to haunt him because he is finally facing the consequences of his actions. There have been speculations for weeks if he is ever going to face some real-time consequences for some unacceptable things that he has said and done in recent times, and it turns out that the answer is yes. Ye is not above being canceled. Ye has always been one of the most loved rappers in Hollywood, and he made an even bigger name for himself when he launched his Yeezy line with Adidas, as well as his collaborations with the fashion house Balenciaga. So he became successful not only in the music industry, but the fashion industry as well, which is not as easy as it sounds. But now, Ye is getting heavily canceled left and right, and nobody wants to work with him, at least right now. He started losing the support of the people after his continuous attacks on his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, on social media after their divorce. His vicious commentary about her and Pete Davidson crossed the line into bullying, and he was called out several times over this. But then, he took things a little too far at the Paris Fashion Week with his controversial White Lives Matter t-shirt that got people talking. But rather than apologize or even keep quiet, Ye decided to drag the matter further by dissing the Black Lives Matter movement, saying, "Everyone knows that Black Lives Matter was a scam. Now it's over. You're welcome." He then went on a rant where he attacked several celebrities on his Instagram page, including Gigi Hadid and Hailey Bieber. But things really started heating up when he posted a screenshot of his conversation with Diddy, and it had some anti-Semitic undertones to it. He wrote, "This ain't a game. I'ma use you as an excuse to show the Jewish people that told you to call me that no one can threaten or influence me. I told you this was war." It was concerning that Ye seemed to declare war on the Jews publicly, and after a while, he got his account restricted by Instagram for violating their policies. We thought that Ye was going to stop there and maybe take some time to think about his actions and why he needed to do better. But that was not the case, because the next thing we knew, he revived his Twitter account, which had been lying dormant for about 2 years. This is where things started getting worse for him, because it was the beginning of the end. He tweeted, "I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going to DEF CON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is that I can't actually be anti-Semitic because black people are Jews also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda." We thought that his Instagram post was bad, but this made things worse. There was an outcry from both the Jewish community, the black community, and pretty much everyone else who was against hate speech. There were calls for Ye to get canceled and blacklisted by Hollywood so that he could finally face the consequences of his actions. But he still didn't back down, and instead bragged that he was untouchable. He tweeted, "Who do you think created cancel culture?" Now, even though all this was horrible, he could have fixed things if he had just let go of his ego and apologized for his comments as well as his actions. But he didn't, even though there were lots of opportunities for him to apologize. For example, he went on an interview with Piers Morgan, who was pretty much begging him to apologize, but Ye refused to, and he walked out of the interview.
I think you should say to the Jewish people, "I'm sorry for the offensive language I used in that tweet. I wouldn't do that again. This is what I really meant." I think people would respect you if you said that.
Tell people when I would apologize for the tweet. This is what has to happen first. I need all of the top executives in Hollywood. I need the top executives at the NBA and at the NFL. We'll do those two sports specifically.
That's clear.
Interview adjourned. Love you.
In yet another interview, he claimed that he was going to war, but he couldn't afford it because he only had about $120 million in his bank account.
I'm going to war. You know, I don't have endless resources. I only have maybe $120 million in my account.
We all thought that he had hit the bottom and there was no way that he could possibly make the situation any worse for himself, but he proved us wrong when he went on the Drink Champs podcast and made some statements that made people even angrier. First, he further dissed the Black Lives Movement by claiming that George Floyd had died of a fentanyl and that the police officer barely even had his knee on his neck.
Hit him with the fentanyl. If you look, the guy's knee wasn't even on his neck like that.
He then bragged that he could say all the anti-Semitic things he wanted to say because he knew for a fact that Adidas would never drop him.
The thing about it, me and Adidas, is like, I could literally say anti-Semitic shit and they can't drop me. I could say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me.
This made it clear that Ye felt no remorse for his actions because he was not facing any consequences and his money was safe. But it turns out that he overplayed his hand and overestimated himself because he was dropped by almost all the brands that he either works with or is affiliated with. He was dropped by talent agency CAA, Gap, Balenciaga, Foot Locker, and even the MRC studio announced that they were no longer going to be airing a completed documentary about Ye, saying, "We cannot support any content that amplifies his platform." His bank, JP Morgan Chase, also announced that they had cut ties with him and had asked him to close his account with them and find another bank to do business with. Banks cutting ties with customers is usually something of a last resort because they usually try to keep as many customers as they can, especially customers like Ye who have a high net worth and a lot of money in the bank. But while all this was bad enough for Ye, it was nothing that he couldn't survive because even though he lost money, his deal with Adidas was his major moneymaker and most of his net worth was tied to the deal. So as long as Adidas stuck with him, he would be fine. But then his brags about Adidas turned out to be a bad move because Adidas soon announced that his partnership with them was under review. Then a few days later, they released a statement announcing that the partnership was over and they were cutting ties with him because of his comments. They said, "Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion, mutual respect, and fairness." After a thorough review, the company has taken the decision to terminate the partnership with Ye immediately, end production of Yeezy branded products, and stop all payments to Ye and his companies. They continued, Adidas will stop the Adidas Yeezy business with immediate effect. This is expected to have a short-term negative impact of up to 250 million euros on the company's net income in 2022, given the high seasonality of the fourth quarter. Adidas is the sole owner of all design rights to existing products as well as previous and new colorways under the partnership. More information will be given as part of the company's upcoming Q3 earnings announcement on November 9, 2022. This was the final and biggest blow to Ye because, as we said, most of his income and net worth was tied to the Adidas deal. There were speculations as to what it would mean for Ye since he lost most of his moneymakers. His only major source of income now is his music because Apple Music and Spotify have not banned him yet and are unlikely. He also has money in real estate as well as some investment, but not as much as his deals in the fashion industry. Things got so bad for him that his net worth plummeted from an estimated $2 billion to $400 million. While $400 million is still a lot of money, it is only a fifth of what he was worth just a few weeks ago, and it goes to show that cancel culture is just as strong, if not stronger than most people think. After weeks of silence, Ye's ex, Kim, has spoken out about Ye's antics, and contrary to what a lot of people expected, she was not on Ye's side at all. She chose to save her own skin, saying, "Hate speech is never okay or excusable. I stand together with the Jewish community and call on the terrible violence and hateful rhetoric towards them to come to an immediate end." Even though she was careful not to call Ye by name, it was obvious that she was referring to him. So how does Ye feel about being canceled so badly in Hollywood and losing everything that he worked for? Well, it looks like he still has no remorse because he is still insisting that he is in the right, and even complained about being bullied and blacklisted by Hollywood.
I want to talk about the Jewish comment. It's actually proving the exact point that I made. So many actors been bullied behind the scenes. So you even got people like Ari Emanuel asking people to not do business with me. That's how this town has been running for so long. They'll mute you. They'll try to mute you at all costs.
It's crazy that he still can't see how wrong he is when he has some people supporting him and spreading anti-Semitism in his name. And even though he complained about being bullied and silenced, it looks like so many people just feel satisfied that he is finally facing the music. Somebody wrote, "Ye West is a despicable person. This is not cancel culture. This is the classic facing the consequences of your actions culture." Another person said, "Ye West deserves to be canceled, and he has no one to blame but himself. Maybe he ought take those meds and seek professional help." And this other person brought up the Kardashian curse, saying, "I thought Ye beat the Kardashian curse, but it got him in the end. He's losing everything, and this not the generation that's going to let him get it back by simply putting out music. He might be done for real." So is this the end of Ye West as we know him? Or is he going to somehow manage to stage a comeback from all this? We'll wait and see, but while you're here, you should check out this other cool video.